Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that he will only agree to a permanent ceasefire deal in Gaza on the condition that it is not used as a lifeline for Hamas. Netanyahu outrightly rejected the intention to withdraw from the Philadelphia corridor in the first phase of the deal, adding that international pressure would make it effectively impossible to return. Netanyahu also accused Hamas of rejecting all proposals for a ceasefire deal in Gaza that would allow the release of the hostages. Hamas has accused Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of trying to thwart a Gaza truce deal after he said that the Palestinian militant group has rejected everything in negotiations. Hamas is demanding complete Israeli withdrawal from the area and said Netanyahu's insistence on the border zone aims to thwart reaching an agreement. Protests in central Tel Aviv persisted into a fourth consecutive night on Wednesday as hundreds of demonstrators insisted on Prime Minister Netanyahu negotiating a ceasefire agreement that would secure the safe return of the remaining 101 hostages. The demonstrations, which were sparked by the discovery of 6 dead hostages in Gaza over the weekend, led to a general strike called by Israel's largest trade union on Monday. Since then, over 500,000 people have taken to the streets in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, leading to several arrests. Russian lawmakers have denounced U.S. sanctions against Russian state media network RT after United States indicted 2 employees of the state-funded news outlet over attempts to influence 2024 U.S. presidential polls. U.S. has accused the 2 employees of money laundering and violating the Foreign Agents Registration Act. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi held bilateral talks with his Singaporean counterpart Lawrence Wong. During their meeting, both leaders signed 4 MOUs on digital, health and family welfare, electronics, IT and skill. Rafael Grossi, who is the Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, has said that a cooling tower at Ukraine's Russian-occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant had been badly damaged in a fire last month and would probably have to be demolished. Grossi made the comment during his 5th visit to the plant, which was seized by Russian forces soon after Russia's February 2022 invasion of Ukraine. The head of UN's nuclear watchdog posted a video on social media platform X showing him and IAEA officials assessing the damage while standing inside the cooling tower. New Zealand has got a new queen. 27-year-old Naga Vahindu was chosen as Queenie by a council of indigenous Maori chiefs during an elaborate ceremony in the country's North Island. The new queen, was crowned as the 8th Maori monarch in New Zealand, as her father, King Toheta VII, who died last Friday at the age of 69, was laid to rest. She is the youngest child of King Toheta and is the 2nd queen of Maoris, the first being her grandmother. A 14-year-old boy killed 2 fellow students and 2 teachers and wounded 9 others in a shooting at a Georgia high school. The director of the Georgia Bureau of Investigation said that the gunman was carrying a semi-automatic rifle and was quickly confronted by the deputies assigned to the school. He said that the accused would be tried as an adult. The incident has jolted the U.S. with the first mass campus shooting since the start of the school year. Colombia's President Gustavo Petro has asked the Attorney General's office to probe the $11 million purchase of Pegasus spy software. Petro said Pegasus spy software could have been used to spy on opposition lawmakers during the previous administration. Built by Israeli firm NSO, Pegasus spyware has been found to have been used to hack into the phones of civil society, opposition lawmakers and journalists in the last decade globally. Chinese President Xi Jinping has pledged over $50 billion in financing for Africa over the next 3 years. Addressing the China-Africa Forum, Xi Jinping promised to deepen cooperation in infrastructure and trade with the continent, and also hailed ties as the best period in history. According to the state media, more than 50 African leaders and UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres are attending the China-Africa Forum. Many African leaders have already secured a plethora of deals for greater cooperation in infrastructure, agriculture, mining, trade and energy. Pope Francis joined the Grand Imam of Southeast Asia's largest mosque in pledging to work together to promote peace and protect the environment. They issued a joint call for interfaith friendship and common cause at the heart of Pope Francis' visit to Indonesia. Pope Francis travelled to Jakarta's iconic Istiqlal Mosque for an interfaith gathering with representatives of the 6 religions that are officially recognized in Indonesia, that is, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism and Protestantism. South Korea has accused North Korea of floating more trash-filled balloons southwards. It said Pyongyang launched about 420 balloons last Wednesday, quickly followed by another round early on Thursday, adding that around 20 of the balloons had already landed in the south, mainly in the northern Gyeonggi province and the capital Seoul. The military said that the bags attached to those balloons contained mostly paper and plastic waste. This is the 13th round of trash-carrying balloons launched by Pyongyang towards Seoul since late May. Argentina's riot police blocked demonstrators near the National Congress building as retirees pushed and hit their shields. Demonstrators clashed with riot police against President Javier Milei's veto of a pension reform that would have increased their pensions, among other benefits. Well, after taking office in December, right-wing libertarian Milei implemented strict austerity measures as part of an attempt to contain triple-digit inflation. Lawmakers had overwhelmingly approved the reform that would hike pensions in line with inflation, but Milei vetoed the pension reform that had been passed by opposition-controlled Congress. Forest fires have blanketed Ecuador's capital with thick smoke as firefighters and volunteers attempted to put out the blaze. According to Quito's mayor, Pablo Munoz Lopez, 4 fires broke out on Wednesday and only one was brought under control. He said that because of the fires, the air quality had been affected in the city, especially in the north center. In the streets of Quito, locals with masks and animals were seen walking through the dense smoke covering the city. Officials reported that at the moment there are no injuries or deaths, while the cause of the fire is still unknown. A passenger ferry capsized on a river in the Peruvian Amazon, killing at least 6 people and 3 others missing. The accident happened on Wednesday morning when a passenger boat with 48 people aboard hit a submerged log on the Ucayali River, puncturing its hull. According to the Peruvian Navy, the 6 victims were aged between 30 and 45 years. Reports said that a majority of the passengers were rescued by boats. The prosecutor's office ordered a probe on the accident as police and the Navy continued their rescue operations. Japan's inflation-adjusted wages rose for 2 consecutive months in July, thanks to a bump in summertime bonuses. Real wages in the world's 4th largest economy grew 0.4% in July, rising at a slower pace than June's growth when it turned positive for the first time in 27 months. The data is crucial as wages hold the key to how soon the Bank of Japan could raise the rates. For context, Japanese firms agreed to raise monthly pay by 5.10% on an average this year, and that's the biggest pay rise in 33 years. Majority of foreign exchange people surveyed by Reuters suggest that the recent US dollar weakness will stall in the coming 3 months, despite financial market traders ramping up bets for Federal Reserve rate cuts. The rate futures markets have fully priced in a 25 basis point Fed rate cut this month, with around 40% priced in for another 25 basis point reduction, suggesting a major positioning for a half-point cut. The White House is close to announcing that US President Joe Biden will block Nippon Steel's acquisition of US Steel. US Steel had earlier warned that a failure to conclude a deal with Japan-based company would put thousands of US union jobs at risk and signaled that it would close some steel mills and potentially move its headquarters out of the politically important state of Pennsylvania. Now, both Nippon Steel and US Steel said that they did not receive any updates from the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States regarding the deal. They also added that they did not believe that the acquisition posed any kind of security risks, as claimed by the White House. Jeep's parent company, Stellantis, said it will resume production at certain US assembly plants after making production adjustments and will assess if further action is required. The Wall Street Journal first reported that Stellantis had paused making its Jeep Wrangler and Grand SUVs in the past week. Stellantis said in an email statement to Reuters that it continues to take the required actions to improve operations in the US market, including making production adjustments at the Toledo North, Jefferson and Mack plants. Elon Musk's social media platform X has won an appeal to partially block a California law that requires social media companies to share their policies on disinformation, hate speech and extremism. The 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in San Francisco reversed a lower court's decision allowing X to pause the law's enforcement. The law mandates large platforms to publicly report on their content moderation efforts and provide data on how harmful posts are handled. Last year, Musk argued the law violated First Amendment free speech rights to stop the law from taking effect. A dismissed town mayor who fled the Philippines after being accused of helping establish an illegal online gaming and scam center has now been arrested in Jakarta, Indonesia's capital city. Now we're talking about Alice Guo, who is accused of helping establish a massive complex near the Philippines town hall that was being run as a hub for illegal online gambling and scam outfits. This establishment catered mostly to clients in China, where gambling is forbidden. After Guo fled the Philippines in July, she was tracked in Malaysia and Singapore before turning up in Indonesia. Social media giant Meta platforms will notify Brazilians about how their personal data will be used to train generative AI, following a request from Brazil's Data Protection Authority. Users in Brazil will be informed through email and notifications on Facebook and Instagram, with the option to decline the use of their data for AI training. In July, Brazil's National Data Protection Authority blocked Meta's new privacy policy over concerns about data usage for AI, but later lifted the suspension after Meta agreed to provide more transparency. Two leaders of the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission are urging the agency to probe online retailers Shein and Temu. This follows concerns that dangerous baby and toddler products were sold on their websites. Regulators are calling for a review of how Shein, Temu and other foreign-owned e-commerce platforms, how are they following U.S. regulations, manage third-party sellers and represent imported goods. Shein and Temu, which ship inexpensive products from China to the U.S., are under scrutiny for exploiting a tariff exemption called de minimis. Critics argue that this loophole has fueled Shein and Temu's growth in the U.S., but it has also raised concerns about product quality.